Welcome back to another MarketPlays Monday. Actually, on Monday this week, we got it together. This week it is a big week for big tech earnings. You have most of your Magnificent Seven reporting, with Tesla reporting last week. So, what are we looking at? What are we thinking? Special guest. So, I guess Efe, being our MarketPlays CTO, what are your thoughts on the tech industry this week?
So I think they're carrying the SPY index at the moment because everything else is kind of downish, but all the tech companies are basically carrying it now. This so-called Magnificent Seven is the hype of the town, right? I think it's being driven mostly through layoffs and AI. All these companies that we look at on the Magnificent Seven is basically companies that have some sort of AI investment going, right? NVIDIA, Microsoft, obviously. There's Meta, and then Google has Bard, and Amazon has some bedrock investments on AWS side. When is it gonna stop? I guess that's the question. Is it still a good time to get into these things? Personally, I would say no. I'm a technical background, so I kind of like the limitation of the current AI technology is the fact that once you generate a lot of data through these AI, it's going to be training by itself. So it's kind of going to be like a garbage in, garbage out situation. And that's gonna start showing up soon unless they fix the way they do AI at the moment. It's like LLM, which is what ChatGPT is based on, is really like popular. So everybody's doing that, but it has some limitations. So that's why I'm saying AI is driving it, driving the market kind of really at the moment, and that's people are going to realize that the current AI situation, while it's good, it's not the rosy, well, depending on who you ask, rosy or apocalyptic, but it's not that. This is not. I don't think this specific technology of AI is it. So I still don't think we're there yet.
Just real quick, wasn't that similar to your view on crypto? Like, it's got purpose, but this specific isn't it.
Well, crypto is a little bit different. I don't think anything applies to crypto aside from value store. This AI technology does have um, some industry applications, but it's not the thing that people hype it up to be. So like, I'm just saying that like it's a good technology. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's great. It's just that is it really Nvidia's valuation level of technology right now? Like people are expecting that it's gonna do things like it's gonna basically become human. That's what people are thinking. But that's just not gonna happen. Have you ever had like a long conversation with one of these AIs? They have like limitations, like how many words you can say to it. So like a history that it does is like all condensed to fit that number of words. So therein lies your problem. Like that's the first hurdle, right? And there are many more. Trust me.
I this is so off topic, but all I can think of is like, no, Efe, I haven't had a long talk with AI. I touch grass and have real friends.
I know a few people like literally just talk to AI all the time.
Yeah.
ChatGPT to be precise.
Well, it's the poster child right now. Which again, Efe, I think I'm going to keep picking on you because I think you are the most versed in AI of all of us. So Microsoft's got ChatGPT. What about like Google's Bard? Are we hitting the same limitation with it? Because like, I mean, we're coming off of the last Alphabet earnings. While they did beat revenue and EPS, were disasters. The company lost like 280 billion in market cap in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, from an AI standpoint, and I mean, Google has a lot of other things going for it, or not going for it, I guess, the way you look at it. It's that from an AI perspective, though, it's the same technology. You can spend, like, you can throw money at it, and train these giant models, and they'll perform better, but the underlying problems are still going to be there. It's just like the way it gets trained. So like internet currently is being polluted, like starting to get like AI pollution slowly, because people have realized that this AI technology is great. So what people are doing is just generating content through AI and put it on internet. And guess what? That's what trains the AI in the first place. So basically, you're putting the output of the AI into the input of the AI, and it's just, and the way this text is generated is through actual human interactions and knowledge. And once it stops actually putting in new knowledge into it, it's just gonna become garbled garbage. But slowly, it's gonna happen. But that's just the AI front. But from a Google search perspective, which is what's driving Google really, and like that's where their revenue is, right? Even their cloud isn't doing that great, but their search hasn't been as good as it has been in a while, and people are starting to notice that too. More and more people are using like ChatGPT or something to like actually search for things. They're also losing some revenue on that one. So I feel like the outlook for Google itself, I wouldn't say it's a good company to invest as it stands right now, unless they like change how they do business. But like, I mean, you could say I have my personal opinions about Google. It's like work ethics, because like they keep coming up with new products, they keep like abandoning them, things like that. So I don't have much trust in Google to begin with. So personally, I would not put money in Google, honestly. That's what I'm trying to say.
So of course we have Google earnings, or really Alphabet, I'd rather say, earnings tomorrow. But I'd rather talk about the other heavy hitter coming out tomorrow, the world's second most valuable company, Microsoft.
Yeah, yeah. I'll let you go, John, because I've been talking a lot.
No, I mean, go for it. I mean, I'm gonna talk about Nvidia. Really, this is not really my jam, so go for it.
Yeah. All right. I mean, Microsoft. So like what people say usually in the stock market is like trade the rumor, sell the news. The rumor is that AI is great. The news is gonna come out that AI is not great, and then all these companies are gonna start going down. Maybe a little bit. I mean, you know how the stock market reacts to just like kind of irrational too. So like keep that in mind too. So like when I say it's not gonna go well, I'm thinking about like 5 years or something. Like in the meantime, it'll go up definitely.
Well,
So
let me ask you this too, because I did want to bring this up, because like, yes, AI is definitely, for all the Magnificent Seven, really the big ordeal right now. But like Microsoft, we've got some more recent bad news. Because it was last Friday, I believe it was. There was a national outage of Microsoft Teams, which was great at my 9 to 5 because it got me out of a meeting. But like that, and then also, have you heard about the Microsoft hack?
I have not heard of the Microsoft hack, but I can speak to the outage a little bit.
Please.
Outages, they don't really affect that much, to be honest. Unless it's like a very prolonged thing. Like remember the outages that happened on AWS? Like AWS didn't really lose that much customers because of that. And Teams is kind of like a anti-competitive product to begin with. Like people use Teams because it's free and comes with an Outlook and an Excel. So it's like I don't think that's gonna have any impact on the Microsoft stock valuation at least.
I mean, personally, I think, in my opinion, of the Magnificent Seven, or really of any stock in the market, I've talked about this a lot. Microsoft is my buy and hold forever stock. I for one, I don't understand how they're the second most valuable company. I get the iPhone's big, but like I think in terms of well-rounded revenue streams, Microsoft is where it's at. I mean, you get rid of Excel, every stock market in the world crashes.
I 100% agree with you. I think Microsoft is a great company, like culturally, and the things that they're doing. I think they're just like forward thinking. They're doing it right by developers, and like C#, for example, the ecosystem is a great like ecosystem to be in. And if anybody is gonna topple Amazon's AWS like market share, it's Azure with Microsoft. That's the only company that I believe that can do it. So I would say it's definitely gonna eat up a lot of like Amazon and Google's profits, both from search and from cloud computing side of it.
Well, I'll say, going back to when I talked about when Google lost to Nike, if I remember correctly, that was why they did, was their cloud computing business was so down and losing so bad to Azure and AWS that you kind of, I mean, I hate to put it this way, but they had to find a new future of the company.
Yeah, Google's biggest problem isn't that their engineers are great, and they are great. Their work culture is terrible. So, I mean, I'm someone who's coming from Amazon, so my mind is a little bit different. So, from there, we are responsible for the services that we do on our own, like as developers, as engineers. And Google, they don't even use their own Google Cloud internally. So, like, why would you trust Google's infrastructure when Google isn't trusting their own infrastructure?
Wait, what do they use then?
They have their own internal systems.
Yeah, no, I did not know that. I'm with you then, because like I would say I only hold Alphabet through broad market index funds. I am not a direct investor in Google, whatever, Class A or Class C. But that alone, as an investor, turns me off. Like, I'm assuming. I mean, I'm assuming at Amazon you use some kind of offshoot of AWS at least.
No, we use AWS,
Yeah.
like literally just the same thing that customers use, we use. So, so that's why it's like dog fooding is so important, especially when like I'm not gonna go too deep into the work culture difference, but I just say that I don't agree with how Google does things, and I think that's not a good way to make good products, and it's showing on their products too. Like Google hasn't had any good product at all, like that they have come up on their own besides Gmail and Google, or like YouTube they bought,
Yep.
right? But Android they bought,
Mhm.
and then what else do they even have really?
Google, are you trying to look me in the face right now and tell me Google Plus isn't popping?
Oh yeah, the Google Plus craze.
I mean, like they have the whole Google Drive ecosystem, which is kind of cool, but like I also feel like it's cool because it's free.
Yeah, I mean Google Drive. It's the same thing. Like everybody has that. Like every other company
Yeah.
has a Google Drive sort of things, right?
I do like Google Sheets, but like in my going back to my Microsoft supremacy, numbers is poor man's Excel.
Oh yeah, it's definitely is. Like, I mean, are you gonna if you were to like actually do some work, would you rather use Google Sheets or would you rather use Excel? You know?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I even put on the, and my degree is in finance. We had 2 whole semester long classes entirely about how to use Excel. We never even once touched Drive, numbers, sheets, any of it.
Anyway, like the bottom line is, I think Google is a very overhyped, bad company overall, and I think it's high time that Google, like, it's gonna take time, but it's definitely not gonna be where it is right now if it keeps going this way, unless they change culturally, and that could happen definitely. Like, look at Microsoft, like 2007 Microsoft versus 2024 Microsoft is very different companies. Like very, very different.
So, out of curiosity, one change that happened at Microsoft during that time, do you think there'd be a new CEO in order for Google?
I don't know.
Or Alphabet, rather.
I mean, if they, I don't see it happening at the moment, but if it does happen, it needs to be someone that actually understands product. And like, I'm not a Steve Jobs fan, but one of the things that he said correctly was that when a product person is not a CEO, then the company goes downhill because the person who's going to be in charge of he's not going to understand anything of like making good products, actually like things that drive a company forward. They're not going to know. And like, yeah. So we'll see.
So then that said, on the subject of famous CEOs, Mr. Tim Cook. Apple also reports Thursday after market close. And I'm gonna get my opinion of Apple out here first because I I say this as I'm streaming from my MacBook with my earpods and my iPhone. I'm not really an Apple fanboy. I mean, don't get me wrong, they make a good product, but also I think, especially with how well everything interconnects, once you're in the ecosystem, you're kind of stuck in the ecosystem. But beyond that, Apple as a company, I don't think anybody will argue with me. The iPhone is the best consumer product ever invented. And it has carried Apple to what, $3 trillion market cap now? Most valuable company on the face of the planet. How many years running, except that one day last week when it was Microsoft? But like now, and Efe, you and I talked about this a little bit a couple weeks back, John, while you were out of town. iPhone sales in China, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, Apple's second largest market, are dropping like a rock.
Yeah. The main reason for that is that China is basically came out with their own iPhone and forcing everybody to buy that, right?
Well, I mean, yes. And then I also think combine that with, like, I mean, we're high inflationary period in the US right now. I think your average middle class consumer is, I mean, their dollar doesn't stretch like it did 3-4 years ago. Will we also see declining iPhone sales? Just because of affordability.
That's also another factor.
I mean, inflation adjusted though, Joseph, do you think iPhone price really went up, say, compared to 10 years ago?
You know, that's a very good question. That is a really, really good question. See, that's the problem with the fact that I'm 26. 10 years ago, I was learning to drive, not buying an iPhone.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really speak for the US, but like it was probably around the same price range. I mean, it did went up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, since like COVID, but I don't think it went up crazy.
Yeah, it was $500 apparently in 2007.
2007, yeah. But people were making much less too, I think. So
yeah, so it's about $740 today. So it's about $300 more expensive, I guess, the Pro version. But the base versions, maybe not so much. I think they're in line, right?
I would say so.
I don't know, because also this is a perk. Efe, I don't know if you get this benefit. Perks of, I'm going to shout out Verizon. I have not paid for an iPhone. My last, I think, 3 of them, because they just keep giving them to me for free.
That's awesome.
Hey, every time you sign a 3-year contract, you get a free one.
Well, it's a free one, isn't it?
Well, yes, but like I'm paying for cell service anyway. I might as well get the free phone.
Yeah, that's true.
Not every provider offers that though, right? It's like a special deal.
Yeah, I think Verizon and maybe AT&T do. But like, I could be wrong about that. Good old AT&T, that dividend king that is also not doing great, but they don't report earnings this week, so I'm not really that worried about them.
It's funny.
So I guess speaking of Magnificent Seven, so the original 5, it's almost like G7, right? Like it started with 5 members. So it used to be Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, Alphabet, I guess. So the latest 2 additions are Meta and Nvidia. Nvidia, I think like relatively recently, maybe like less than 6 months ago. They basically increased from 1 trillion market cap to 1.5 trillion now in like record speeds, adapting good technology, ahead of the competition in terms of hardware, like Intel and AMD in terms of chip making. It's right now the world's 6th most valuable company, price earnings around 80. It did went up like almost 250% in the last 12 months, which kind of makes me regret not to buy substantially, because I do remember talking to Efe in November 2022 when it was like 165, and nowadays it's like 620 or something. So this kind of makes me mad. But speaking of the work culture, like I've been obviously not being very technical, and I don't really know much about this whole AI and technology game, but I do look at the corporate structure, work culture, stability, what type of investments they make, like domestically and internationally, board of directors, what type of backgrounds do they come from. I feel it's a quite stable company. Is this price point, which is 620, is this a good entry point? I'm not sure. But that being said, though, it just keeps going up like crazy. There hasn't been it hasn't slowed down since like beginning of last year, 2023. So what do you guys think about Nvidia as a company in general?
I think I heard somebody say kind of recently they thought Nvidia was overvalued.
Everyone keeps saying that.
Who might have said that? I don't remember. FA, do
yeah.
you remember?
I might have said a thing or two about that. I mean, it's true. I still think that. I think it is overvalued. But like I said, also like at the same time, markets can be very irrational. So like you never know. Like yes, it is incredibly valued, but is it gonna go down? Is the real question, I guess.
That's the real question.
Yeah. And Nvidia, I mean, again, argue with me if you think I'm wrong about this, but I think Nvidia has been benefiting a lot lately from the limelight effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which goes into FA talking about, behaving irrationally. They've been getting a lot of very positive press coverage.
So true.
Especially because they've hit the gaming market quite well because of gaming PCs.
Yeah.
So, like today, shameless plug, I was watching somebody play, I don't remember the name of the game now, maybe the new Prince of Persia, and Nvidia got a shout out just randomly, not sponsored or anything, like that kind of stuff.
I mean, Nvidia in the gaming circle, I mean, that's what they do. Like literally, that is literally what they were known for, is just making like graphics cards. I mean, when I was a kid, I would buy Nvidia GeForce stuff. So like, it's still a thing, but it's on the back burner now. So it's not no longer gaming that is the focal point of the company. So now AMD is kind of stepping up on that.
Yes.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But it's a much smaller pie than AI, obviously.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find. I feel like they just got offered a subsidy as well for AMD, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, AMD and Intel, I think they're more in the hardware competition side of it, but the software and the AI side of it, I think, like Nvidia, doesn't even have a net competitor at the scope of things that they operate. Yeah.
One saving grace for like the overvaluation of Nvidia is that once you like dominate a market with that specific hardware, these AI, basically the AI code is written for Nvidia almost. It's like, yes, there's some abstraction layers, but most people that are going to be writing for AI, they're going to be writing for Nvidia. So they have like their specific libraries called CUDA.
Yes.
CA. So like that's NVIDIA specific, and AMD have their own thing. So like if AMD wants to like take up market share on AI, they need to get scientists on board basically.
And create their own.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there are some abstractions too. So like it is possible to switch them out later on, maybe, but not at the moment.
I mean, one thing for sure, though, NVIDIA has good PR, and I know from the sidelines, from what I've been watching, they do have like research and development grants globally. They're supporting like startups, third and fourth year university students. They've got 3 professors, different fields in their board of directors of 10, 12 people. So it's definitely run differently. Their CEO hasn't changed since 93-ish or something. So like it's a very interesting company, I guess.
Well, John, can I ask you your opinion on this too? What are your thoughts on Nvidia having trouble retaining employees?
Oh yeah, that's, I guess, like
they've made too many millionaires.
Yeah,
too many. I was gonna say like maybe it ties to what Efe said. Like everybody like maximizes maybe their time at Nvidia and wants to create their own thing. Just a guess, but
I was it was a Business Insider article back in December, about how Nvidia stock has done so well, and they did ESOP plans for employees for so long. They're having a trouble maintaining long-time employees because so many of them are so rich they're slipping into semi-retirement.
Yeah, I read something about that. So
it's what 2,000% up. So from last year or 5 years.
Yes, 5 years.
Like if you've been with Nvidia for like 5 years, you're basically loaded.
You're loaded.
It is it is up almost 81,000% since 2014.
Like imagine signing on with Nvidia and they give you like I don't know, $100,000 stock options vested over 5 years. So like $100,000 times what, 2,000%? How's that?
I would say January 31st, 2014, call it 10 years ago to the day, Nvidia stock closed at $3.93 a share. Versus they closed at 632 today. No share splits or anything.
I think it's similar thing. I wouldn't say at the same scale happened to Tesla too in the last 5 years, from what I've read. Yeah.
I would believe that. As someone who sold Tesla in late 2019 and still crying about it, I'd believe that. But
bad timing.
This month, Tesla's down 23% in the last month, though.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's one of the big tech, right? One of the Mag 7.
I must say, calling them big tech, I think that very much depends on who you ask and when.
Who you ask.
Because, like, I know for Elon tweeted about it. He sees them as a tech company and a car manufacturer second. But when you look at the revenue streams, which are they really? But we are getting close to the end of time. There's one more stock I want to touch on. Also reports earnings on Thursday. Meta. Oh, Metaverse Mark Zuckerberg builds a bunker in Hawaii. Up, 170% in the last year, up over 10% in the last month.
Yeah, I mean, they also have AI. So, right, they're also investing heavily on AI. And I think Zuckerberg is a little shifting its focus from Metaverse into a more tangible business plan, I guess. I mean, they did have the Oculus Quest. I guess it's not called Oculus anymore. Quest, Meta Quest 2, or not 3 came out, and that didn't do very well, obviously. And then they stopped production for the Meta Quest Pro altogether, which it came out last year, so that should tell you something. So it's not doing so hot on the VR space. But speaking of VR space, Apple is also coming out with Apple Pro, actually in 3 days, right?
Well, so that's very soon, I thought.
Yeah, that's very soon. So, like, it's going to be probably their earnings might have some information on the sales of that, because I know that they sold out, actually. Pre-orders.
I would say, let's be straight, both of you gentlemen, are you paying $3,500 for that thing? Because I'm not.
The only people who would pay for $3,500 is, like, I don't know, if you have a lot of money and you're just like curious about this thing, sure. I think most people who are buying it for are developers, like engineers who wants to make apps for it.
That's fair.
Plus, maybe like some very niche, specific industrial application for it.
I will give them this. Their commercials are really cool.
Yeah, their commercials are really cool. Oh yeah, also like YouTubers who does like reviews and stuff. I'm sure they're.
Linus Tech Tips has like 6 in his basement right now or something.
Yeah, that's probably what's happening.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I've debated also. You may have a thought on this. Is that price tag just to get us to balk at it?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it is that good. You know, I kind of don't know. It seems good overall. It's my only concern about the Apple Vision Pro is that it's going to be heavy, and like heavy stuff on VR is not. I mean, people don't like that much. There's another VR headset called Beyond, Big Screen Beyond, which is extremely light and very popular with like VR people. The only downside is that it doesn't have standalone. So if Apple goes that way, I can see it becoming an actual mainstream thing, though. I think it just needs to become a little bit smaller.
I guess so. With that said, the last thing I do want to touch on before we end off here, Apple's got fourth quarter Christmas sales. So does Amazon, and then Meta's got their fourth quarter ad sales. We saw consumer spending, at least in the U.S., was up higher than expected. Is that priced into those 3 stocks yet, or are they about to shock us? Because I personally think it's priced in.
Usually, when you know about something, it's already priced in.
I would say, but like also, especially Apple has really Apple and Meta both. I feel like not so much Amazon because everyone just expects Amazon to sell everything always. But I feel like especially like Meta has really surprised us with their fourth quarter ad numbers before. Could they do it again?
Maybe. I guess That's the question. It's like, yeah, I mean, Facebook Marketplace is pretty good too, by the way. But I don't know how, like, number-wise it's doing.
I couldn't tell you either, but I will say, as someone who occasionally flips things, I love Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, me too. And like I love how global it is too, right? I mean, especially like it was an eye opener. Every single country I've been to, there's a Facebook Marketplace updated immediately based on your location. I don't think there's a website like that. Like even eBay is not operating in every country.
Yeah, I was gonna say like eBay. I like Amazon. Facebook Marketplace is not an Amazon competitor as much as it is an eBay competitor.
I agree with that. I say I agree. No, I think that's just a factual statement. eBay being down what 2% the last month, 12% over the last year. I think Facebook Marketplace is going to put them under.
Sure. Is eBay and PayPal still affiliated? Do you guys know? Or are they completely separate companies now?
I thought they separated.
Like there's nothing linked anymore, right? Like completely sold out to private equity or something.
And yeah, in 2015, eBay spun off PayPal to its shareholders, and PayPal became an independent company again.
Perfectly separate. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess that's another potentially reason eBay might not have a lot of financial leverage, right? Because otherwise it would have been bailed out maybe by the larger one. But
man, that's so weird to think that eBay, like what they are now, eBay bought out PayPal.
I know. Yeah, you would almost expect the opposite initially, right?
Yeah. Because PayPal did. That happened after we recorded last week. PayPal shocked the world.
Yeah, like I got shocked by underwhelming products, basically. I mean, I guess in the end it kind of worked out because PayPal went up 10% when they announced it, and then it went down 5%. So it's like it's break even.
Let's see here. So they are total, up 4.3% this month, still down almost 22% this year.
So I guess it kind of worked, but I mean, their products are like recommendations. Really, that's the shocking thing.
I think PayPal's. I mean, this is so off topic, but I think PayPal's business model is solid. I think it's just where do you go from what they already do?
Yeah. And how much further can they scale, right? I mean, they were a really good alternative to conventional banks, I guess, brick and mortar at that point. Yeah. Right now, the fintech market is very saturated, right? And on top of that, crypto. So it's a tough one.
I would say, like, I mean, PayPal really missed the train on like Stripe-like integrations, like business to business. That's what I would expect to be like a game changer because like Stripe is extremely popular. Like not very easy to use.
We use Stripe.
We use Stripe, yeah. I mean, exactly. So I know firsthand that they're not very easy to use. So like PayPal could come up with something that is much easier to use easily. Like I mean,
yeah. I would love to see a PayPal Plaid, a PayPal Zelle, and a PayPal Stripe.
Yeah,
that's my wish list.
Made the switch from like retail consumer to enterprise sales. Like they've never done it for some reason. They kept the initial proposition. You know.
But I guess I don't know. Your Elon Musk companies. What can you say?
It's true.
Yeah.
All right. So with that said, we are over our time limit. I have held you guys here enough. Any closing thoughts, John? Any earnings you're watching this week? Any thoughts?
I think I will actually end up like watching Amazon on Thursday. Yeah. I just want to see because like Amazon, in my opinion, like domestically, North America wide or like globally, like is a good indicator always like in terms of how the retail's performing in general and consumer spending trends. I honestly like believe it way more than like brick and mortar stores nowadays. So like I would rather watch Amazon instead of Costco or Target if I want to understand how much the recession is, how deep the recession is.
Yes, that's probably a smart.
I think that's fair. So, Efe, any thoughts on your own?
Microsoft. I'm a Microsoft fanboy. What can I say?
I'm gonna end off here out in left field with MasterCard earnings. I think it's either tomorrow or Wednesday. I don't remember. I think it's Wednesday. But Visa beat earnings. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Pretty all right. I think it's like 10 cents EPS over, which
Hmm.
nothing to sneeze at. So I'm
No.
kind of see if MasterCard continues to follow suit.
I think it will. By the way, I think we talked about this last week, was it? I can't remember because I had a little bit of a fever. It was like daydreaming almost for me, but MasterCard and Visa globally almost came to the same level around like 5-6 years ago. And now Visa is still 30-40% volume wise and market cap wise ahead of them. I'm gonna do a little bit more due diligence. Like, why is that? Like, what changed the game for Visa? One thing that I've been hearing and reading is they're actually quite crypto friendly lately. So that's very
Actually,
interesting.
no, I think you did tell me that. I think that's where I heard that. It was from you.
And I guess maybe the global penetration, they were like a little bit more dominant in higher risk developing countries, I think, versus MasterCard more in the Western world.
I'm gonna say, yeah. I mean, Visa's got $100 billion more in market cap, but they're definitely very similar and very much both. I mean, Visa returned 18.8% last year. MasterCard returned 19.25. We are talking two near identical companies.
Oh, for sure. Even the railways that they configure for the POS terminals and online terminals for card processing, they actually can only accept MasterCard or Visa, which is funny. So if you have an American Express, that's why a lot of businesses, I mean, in the US, it might be different, but outside of the US, American Express and Discover almost have no coverage. And if the places that they accept it usually are like premium places, like small merchants can't afford it. Because you need to build a brand new railways in order to operate American Express or Discover. So they're like, they really want to keep this like, I guess duopoly or however you want to phrase it.
I think duopoly is the proper word. Isn't Amex like also very soon?
I believe next week, but I'll have to check.
I want to say you're right about that. I'm on the NASDAQ the MarketPlays earnings calendar. But either way, yeah, I think at that point we will wrap this up here. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us here live. I'm gonna edit that out for sure when this hits Spotify. Yeah, and thank you so much to everyone watching the replay. Like the video, subscribe to us. But most importantly, come check out MarketPlays.com. The three of us and some of our closest friends hang out there basically daily. Come join. Come tell us we're wrong. Please. Come like spit on Efe and tell him he's got bad opinions or something. Like, please.
Yeah, please do that.
You sounded a little too excited there, friendo. But yeah, that or hey, are we right? Did we call it for once? Somebody's gonna like put up a Tesla graph in like a year from now and tell us we're all idiots.
Probably.
But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and come and check out marketplace.com. We'll be back next Monday at 5 o'clock to talk about, I don't remember what I said, but we'll be here for it.
Yeah, we will. All right. See you later.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.